So, firstly, good morning or good afternoon, depending on whatever time you see this. Child, we got some stuff to unpack. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. It's Vicky May, and you might have seen me on TikTok if you're a new follower. So, definitely welcome to the family, cousins. Today, we're going to be unpacking a question I got asked on TikTok, and it's regarding human design. And if you don't know what human design is, don't worry. This is going to be human design 101, broken down in simple terms for everybody to understand, because I personally found human design maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it's been impactful. And once you actually come to know what human design is, it's literally life-changing. And if you really want to unlock the code to your life, I feel like human design is a small little piece of a bigger puzzle. So we're going to break down human design. And I got my notes, so if you see me looking down, that's literally what I'm looking at, because human design, it's a bit simple, but also complex. So we're going to break down the origins story of where human design came from and just all the things. So sit back, relax, and let's break this down. So firstly, human design. Now, if you've never heard of human design, basically it's metaphysical science, if you will. I am a woo-woo girly to the core. So I love anything physical design. I love anything or physical, metaphysical. I'm a woo-woo girly, and I'm spiritual, not religious. So shout out to my Lord and Savior, love God, all the things. But when I stumbled across human design and like the origins, the gateways, and the channels, it just kind of blew my mind, because to the average person who's never heard of human design, it's like, wait, what? So we're going to break down what human design is. And once again, got my notes just to make sure I don't miss anything. And we're going to break this down in layman terms to make it easier to where you can understand it better. But firstly, what is human design? Now, the origin story of human design is you see things online, and it's a couple of ways in terms of where it all came from, because it pulls from different arts of practices and spiritual practices, but based off the information that we know, it was founded by Alan Robert Krakauer in 1948 in Montreal, Canada. Now, basically, he was a successful magazine publisher, and he was an advertising executive, not like a mystic or a spiritual guru in a sense. But in 1987, when he was in Ibiza, Spain, he claims he had a profound mystical experience, and he described an encounter as the voice, or like a metaphysical being that came to him and gave him a download. And for 8 straight days and 8 nights, he said during this experience, the voice dictated the entire human design. Now, upon hearing the voice, it basically inspired him to write a 400-page manuscript on teaching this actual human design system. So whether you believe in divine downloads or not, totally, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But if it is your thing, definitely I recommend you kind of at least peek into it and learn more about it. But he produced a remarkable, intricate system based off the chakra system and gateway system, essentially. So essentially, human design pulls astrology, and obviously it's a cosmic blueprint. He pulls, and that's based off your birth date, your time of birth, and where you were born. So essentially, that's what you'll need to actually get your human design chart. And what the chart does, it shows you both your conscious system as well as your unconscious system. So your conscious system is what you actively and knowingly do and how you're actively wired. Your unconscious system is the system that works in ways you don't, it's basically on autopilot. It's imbued, essentially. It also uses the I Ching, the ancient code of change. I Ching is how it's pronounced, so my apologies for butchering it. It means the book of changes. So basically, it's a divination system of 64 hexagrams, systems made of 6 stackable or stacked lines, and they each represent each possible situation and energy in life. So human design has 64 gateways, essentially, or 64 channels, essentially. And how human design works is each hexagram represents a gate, and all the things, essentially, it's also focused on the Kibaba tree of life and Kibabala tree of life. If I butcher anything, my apologies. So, but all in all, the human design is basically just a chart of both your conscious self and your unconscious self. So and I'm trying to find the best way to like break this down, because I know it might be hard for some people to follow, but essentially, it also impacts quantum physics, and we're going to get into quantum leaping in the next video as well, because I'm doing that currently now, and I'm excited to kind of share what I've learned, what I am learning. And a lot of people don't talk much about quantum physics as a whole, but essentially, human design kind of combines all 6 of these different spiritual channels of spiritual gifts or spiritual practices, shall I say. And human design, it leans on quantum physics essentially to explain how planetary positions can impact human experience. And we know that to be true based on back science, that things like Mercury retrograde impact the way humans behave. The lunar system impact the way humans behave. So same deal. But essentially, when you find out what your human design type is and where you can pull, I'll obviously put a list of websites you can actually put your human design chart and actually find out what your human design chart is. But when you find out what your living code is in terms of human design, it literally unpacks and kind of unlocks a deeper way of thinking into how and figuring out who you are. So essentially, that's what human design is. So we have how it all comes together. Human design bridges the gap between astrology, I Ching, Kabbalah, Hindu chakras, the chakra system, quantum physics, as well as genetics. So broken down into basically 6 systems all into one is what the human design chart does. So human design, once again, is essentially someone taking 6 different maps of human existence from wildly different cultures, time periods, and fields, and discovering that they were all pointing to the same thing. So, yeah. And obviously, you don't have to believe in human design. If you're not a woo-woo person, totally understand. But basically, even if you treat it like a personality framework, like the Myers-Briggs test, when you can, kind of take, or either the Enneagram, people consistently saying it's the most accurate thing that they've ever encountered, because human design, it combines 6 of those systems and it points it at the same thing, essentially learning your deeper self. So, yeah, essentially, that's what human design is. But we're going to break down what the types of human design human charts are. That way you have a deeper idea and deeper understanding of what your human design type is. And when you take your test you're able to kind of get a bigger or a broader idea of who you actually are. And when I found out about human design, once again, it was like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, it allowed me the capability to learn a little bit deeper. Like I have actual books, and I'll list some books here that I've used for human design to kind of understand. Because once again, human design is both simple and complex, because it's taking 6 different systems across different variations and cultures and putting it all together in one chart. That would be complex for anybody, but I say once you purchase the books, once you kind of get a deeper understanding of what human design is, it becomes easier to kind of read your human design chart and be like, oh, I never knew my conscious self. Like I knew my conscious self did this, but I didn't know it was because my subconscious self was operating like this. And it kind of gives you the keys and the framework on how to live the most abundant life that you possibly can. So let's get into what the types of human designs. We have number 1, your manifestors. That's 9% of people. They are the initiators, essentially. So if you take your human design chart and you find that you're a manifestor, typically we all know the law of assumption, law of attraction. Manifestors, typically they're the friend in the friend group who goes for it without asking anyone. They just go ahead. So their strategy, which you'll find out, is they inform others before acting to avoid resistance, meaning I'm gonna ask for forgiveness before I ask for permission. Those are your manifestors. Then you have your generators. That's 30%. That's 37% of people in this world. That's the life force of the planet. They're here to do work that they love. So if you find out that you're a generator, typically they build the world. That's 37% of the population. Whether they're lit up about something, they have endless energy. So when you think of generators, you think of the goers, the doers. They literally build the world we see. So The caveat with that though is they have huge burnouts. So if you find out that you're a generator and you burn out pretty quick, that's possibly why you're a generator. And they wait, their strategy essentially is to wait to respond, meaning they don't force things, don't force things, let life bring the opportunities to you. That's their strategy. Then you have your manifestors generators. That's 33% of people in the population. They're a hybrid of manifestors and generators. They're multi-passionate, fast-moving, as well as non-linear, meaning they never take the traditional track in terms of doing anything. Like you go to school, you do the thing, you get the good job, and you stay there for 30 or 40 years. That's not manifestor generators. They typically wait to respond, they then inform, and then for them, they're the caveat of it's okay to pivot. Like I would describe manifestor generators as, if you had to put it in like tarot, 8 of Pentacles or 7 of Cups. 7 of Cups is pivoting and weighing options. Those are manifestor generators. And then you have your projectors, which is 20% of people. I myself am a projector. They're the guides and the advisors. They're here to see others clearly and to lead, which, and if you don't, obviously I'll share more of my journey on here, but I'm applying to law school. So it kind of tracks and makes sense. They're the friend who gives the best advice but gets drained trying to keep up with everyone else. Meaning, for me, as a projector, I burn out quick. I'm not designed and built to be go, go, go. And unfortunately, we live in a world and live in a society, at least in this country here in America, where it's always go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. And everybody's not designed like that. So essentially, that's what projectors are. And that's why it's only 20% of people who are projectors. We're here to lead and to guide the world in comparison to everybody else who's here to build it. So, and then also lastly, you have your reflectors. They're 1% of the population. They're rare and deeply connected to their environment. So they mirror the energy around them. So basically think of empaths. Like we all say that we're empaths, but reflectors are truly the empaths. They absorb energy from other people. So the person who feels completely different depending on who they're around, and that's actually their superpower as a reflector. They absorb energy, but also the caveat, they absorb energy, so they get tired easily. So their strategy is to wait a full lunar cycle, which is 28 days, before making big decisions. Reflectors, they sit back, they observe, and part of them being in society, which is why they're so rare, because they absorb all the energy, they have to go in their little corner when it's time to basically disengage, to re-energize. But knowing your type, and I want to break this down because knowing your human design chart is so impactful because it helps you stop fighting your natural wiring. When you lean into your natural wiring, you're able to make better decisions in terms of how you want to show up in life, and you're able to make better decisions when it comes to people as well. So a lot of burnout, anxiety, and feeling stuck comes by living by someone else's strategy. Meaning if you're a reflector and you're trying to be a generator, it's not going to hit the same. You'll get tired easily. You'll get irritated more quickly. Living as a reflector but trying to show up as a generator and a goer and a doer is not the same thing. And you're going to find yourself a lot more angrier than you intend to be. Like, prime example, part of my strategy is to wait for the invitation, and how I know when I've waited for the invitation is success. So if something goes well in my life that I've waited for the invitation or waited to be invited, typically 99% of the time it always is up and shows up successful. Like when it came to TikTok, I made a video that happened to go viral, and then I was invited to make more videos and gained a platform from it. On top of, obviously God, spirit, my ancestors, all the things blessing me with said platform. And how I know I'm not being successful in that area is bitterness. In the event, if I start to feel a little bit of resentment and bitterness, that's how I know I'm not in alignment. So when you find out who you are and the strategy you're actually naturally wired to be, it allows you to kind of make better decisions in terms of your wiring, and it allows you to show up better essentially. But all in all, breaking down your chart. So what's in your chart? You have your profile, that's your role in life. You have things like the hermit, the heretic, the martyr. It sounds dramatic, but I promise it's fascinating, and we'll get more into it. Your authority is how you make the best decisions. Do you make it off our gut feeling, emotions over time, intuition? Do you wait it out? Like for me, I talk my feelings out, and I have to go back and actually pull up my chart again to see what it's actually called. But I talk my feelings out first, and me talking my feelings out helps me make the decision. And then you have your centers. Those are like your chakras. Defined ones are your consistent strengths, and undefined ones are ones where you're most influenced by others. And then you have your channels and your gates, and obviously it's 64 of them. These are specific energies and gifts you carry. So think of a chart like cosmic DNA tests. The more you dig, the more you dig into your chart, the more you're going to have those, oh wait, that is so me moments. So yes. And you can get your free chart essentially from mybodygraph.com. You have the Jovian archive, that's deep and detailed. That's the one I use. The Genectric matrix, that's clean and beginner friendly. And then you have humandesign.com. All of these are free for you to get your chart, so you can just go plug in your information. You'll need obviously your name, your date of birth, your time of birth, and where you were born. So the same thing you would do for your birth chart in astrology, same thing for human design. And drop your human design chart in the comments, or human design type, not chart. Drop the type in the chart, because I want to know what you are. I want to know, how are you navigating the world, and what have you recently learned new about yourself as you're digging more into your chart. But essentially, send this to a friend who's never heard of human design, because obviously, once again, it's simple but complex at the same time. So I'm going to be doing more videos on how to break this down and break it down by each human design type, because I feel like we need more of these videos, especially when it comes to human design, because a lot of people don't know about it. But yeah, like, subscribe, hit the bell, because I'll be posting more videos, not just about human design, but just about everything in general. So yeah, holla at y'all soon. Bye.